Alex Morgan, U.S. women's national team legend and forward with the San Diego Wave, has announced her retirement. Her final match with the Wave will be on Sunday against North Carolina Courage. A lot of emotions swirling around. And for more on this, we welcome in the fourth member of our crew, Sandra Herrera, to chat about this. Sandra, good morning. I believe you're the first one that dropped Alex Morgan's video tweet into our group chat. Obviously, it's a Sandra bomb. She tells us all of our news always. But what were your initial reactions when you saw Alex Morgan's video?
Honestly, like, shout out to the group chat, because that was a little bit of emotional support for me. I was like, I need others to react to with this. So thank you all for also being there. But that's part of the gig, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to anything and everything. To be honest, I feel like I'm still processing a little bit. I don't think the concept of retirement for Alex Morgan or players of this particular generation is the part that is surprising or shocking. I just don't think that any of us were actually ready to process this today. But this is sometimes how things are built, right? The most organic kind of way. And now here we are reacting to this legend and her departure from the game.
Yeah, Darian talked so much about that in our first segment, about how it's really special that she gets to do this on her own terms and really say goodbye the way she wants to and the way she can allow herself to do. But Sandra, at the international level with the U.S. women's national team, I mean, she's a legend. She's a legend. She's been the face of U.S. soccer for so long. What do you think of when you think of Morgan's international legacy?
I just think of like how much of her moments have spanned from just like really big, significant moments on the international stage and all those really little intricate things in between. So much of the framing around this player and really, quite frankly, players of this particular generation who will go through retiring processes or have already announced retirements. They'll be the ones that we take a look at, and we have that framing where it's like, here is two-time World Cup winning insert player here. That's how magnificent this era of players is, and Alex Morgan is a huge part of that. So she has all of these moments, whether they're in World Cup tournaments or Olympic tournaments, but there's all these little things in between too. I'm still looking for my fellow nerds to maybe kind of develop that stat that I always refer to as the Alex Morgan go out there and get your butt beat challenge, because all of this work that she would also do off of the ball is along with her assisting and her goal scoring. She definitely took a lot of punishment out there to try to help open up lanes in the final third for others as well. And that, I think, was also pretty reflective of what she did on the pitch was reflective of what she did off the pitch. She was always trying to be that person to help make the team better in multiple ways, whether that was scoring those goals, setting them up, or helping to lead the charge and championing other issues off the pitch as well.
Yeah, Sandra, I've already cried twice. So since the group chat grenade that you dropped, but to your point, like, I'm just thinking back to even like the 2011 World Cup final. I remember the buzz around Alex Morgan, just, oh, this young, scrappy, like, she's really good, watch for her. And then her being able to create an impact in the final. Just reminiscing a little bit, but did you ever foresee that she would become the player that she is in 2024? That entire legacy of footballing and also just like activism?
Yeah, some players just have the buzz about them, and I think we really saw something special in those early moments with Alex Morgan on the pitch, and we knew that she was going to be such a special player. But to know that she was going to go on to be such a special person and teammate, I think you never really know that until people show us who they are. And thankfully for Alex Morgan, she didn't shy away from them. This is the player that was winning at the international level, along with club as well. I mean, she won club championships with the Western New York Flash. Shout out WPS. I mean, she's a 2023 Shield winner with the Wave and an NWSL championship in 2013 with the Thorns. But I think we can't talk about these periods of times without talking about the things that she did during those moments. I mean, so often we're going to, again, talk about the fact that these types of players, this generation of players, were World Cup winning champions and maybe some of them even Olympians. But the efforts that they made and generated on and off the pitch are much bigger, in my opinion. We're talking about players that really had to take a giant leap of faith when it came to founding the NWSL, because this is the generation of players that were told that WPS was going to be it. And then all of a sudden that was a failed attempt. So we're talking with clasped hands, full eyes, saying, yes, we will commit to another women's domestic league, knowing that it was going to take a lot of balancing and getting the footing beneath them. And Alex Morgan, when we look at her history, we're going to not only see all of these titles and all of these championships and medals that she's won, but all of the strides that she's helped make for women's soccer along the way with this particular specific generation of players that we find ourselves talking about a lot more frequently in terms of these retirements. We're talking about minimum standards for NWSL clubs, helping, celebrate CBAs that didn't exist before 2022. And now we're just a week removed from celebrating a 2.0 version of that, so incredible stuff from her. Yes, on the winner's podium, but so much more off of that as well.
There's so much that Alex Morgan has done. And one of those things, Sandra, is that you touched on is all the work that she did off the pitch, specifically in the United States and in the NWSL, because remember back to 2021 when there was this huge movement to kind of pick out all the bad, abusive coaches and everything that was wrong in the NWSL. She was a huge catalyst for all of that change. Darian, as a player playing during that time, how much did she change the game for you?
Massively. Think about, we're, as women know, being in a workspace where you feel like you don't have enough power or say to get things done, but you know that there's wrongdoing being done and you need somebody to reach down and help you, or reach next to them and help you. Alex Morgan has done that because she has the massive platform that she's always had, and to use that to help Mana Shim, to force the NWSL to make an anti-harassment policy, to get an HR freaking department in the league is insane. And she put her reputation, her sources, her power, her platform on the line to support the players to do that. We can talk about all of the amazing things that she's done on the field, or, maybe when she's not involved in camps or whatever. She has always done what's best for the players and for the league and for her teammates in future generations. And I think that that's really what her legacy is to me, because thinking about that time, I've had a plethora of abusive coaches in the NWSL. She was the catalyst by using her name and her power to finally affect change. And I think, to me, that's the most important, impactful part of her legacy moving forward.
Absolutely. As a superstar, let's be honest, let's call her what she is.
Yeah.
It's so easy to stay in your own bubble and to focus on what you can do, right? Even her fight off the field with U.S. women's national team for equal pay, that benefited her. Reaching out to the NWSL and asking for a handbook in 2021 that was 8 pages long. And now you think about the league has just reinstated its second edition of the CBA.
Right. The most player-forward focused CBA possibly in most sports globally. So, I still think it's wild when you point out that, there was no HR.
Well, think about it. I was never on the full national team. Rarely players are. It's very few and far in between that get to do that. Your voice isn't heard, especially at that point in the league. You're lucky to be playing is what you're told. You're lucky you have an opportunity or that you're on a team. She took everything she had and used her name to actually affect change. I don't think so much of this would have happened if she didn't support Mana Shim and come out, help with Sally Yates, help with the HR. It's incredible what she's done.
To be honest, the conversations that were happening between Mana Shim and the NWSL or attorneys were falling on deaf ears until Alex Morgan got involved. Until she signed off, until she put out the tweet that said, hey, Lisa Baird, former NWSL commissioner, we did send you this email. Sandra, you remember when all of that happened and how involved Morgan was with the change in the NWSL.
How could I forget? Lisa, I remember when we launched Attacking Third, and I felt like we were doing a reactive episode to this type of news almost day in and day out. It was the news cycle around that time was constant, but it was also necessary, right, to help enact change. And I think that's also where I'm myself am so grateful to Alex Morgan and in this particular generation of players, because they also kind of reshaped how media coverage of this league could kind of look like. A lot of times you can go back and find just blips of coverage coverage of NWSL specifically. I remember when just seeing the doom and gloom type of headlines around the league, and now you're starting to see different type of coverage reflected of this league. So they really helped kind of raise up the level of everything when it comes to women's pro soccer in this country. And I would include the way the style of play looks now, the way there are minimum standards, the way there are new CBAs, and the way that there's massive coverage of the sport now.
For me, a big thing that we have to touch on is thinking about how she's impacted our generations, older generations, but especially the kids that have looked up to her, followed her career, and the massive impact that she's leaving, the opportunity, the pathway that, hey, we can do this. This is how it's accessible. I can see myself in you, and look at these players' faces, like just dying to get photos of her, not players, sorry, these kids' faces, these adults' faces, just being so inspired by her game, what she's done on and off the field. I think she's left such an impact on the global women's soccer world than she possibly could have ever imagined.
She did so much. I mean, players line up to get her autograph, to wear number 13, to wear the pink pre-wrap. Her legacy will continue to go on and have such a ripple effect throughout soccer globally, as we've already seen it do. Congratulations, Alex Morgan. We'll see you on Sunday. Big game for Alex Morgan.